Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to Smudcast number 574. What movie critics don't understand. Oh, geez. Luckily, we're not movie critics. We're just random people on the internet. And we hopefully know what we're talking about. That's about all we can do these days, as opposed to self-proclaimed armchair film aficionados who know stuff, I guess. I don't know what to call each other. Anyway, this is from NeoJesus. Or NeoJesus, if you're from the South. This is 1,000 sub YouTuber, and he's got about 7,000 views on this, which came out about 3 years ago. Not a good ratio. He's got 162 upvotes to 357 downvotes, and we're looking at 12 minutes in. So, I don't know. Not sounding very good, but I always like these critics criticizing critics. I hope there's something insightful they're going to say, but it's usually not. It's usually just their subjective nonsense and how their opinion is right and everyone else is wrong because they said so. So that's just how it goes, sadly. And you can scroll down into the comments of his original video and see what other people think. It's pretty brutal. Yeah, they're not holding any punches with this guy. Alrighty. As you can see, there's Mr. Ebert on the screen. And if he's not talking about video games, I assume he's talking about film because he's a film critic. So he went to his deathbed talking about how he still thinks video games are not art. I was like, oh my God, dude. Give it a rest.
Well, he gave it an eternal rest.
Forever. He's like, oh.
Can't be right on everything.
He did actually have an update to his comment with a blog post on his website, and it was just more rationalizing what he originally said, and it's just more gobbledygook. It's like, dude, you're trying to define the medium as such, therefore it can't be art because it's interactive. Yeah. It's like that's like.
I think the weirdest thing he has ever done in his life was sending a letter congratulating the Nostalgia Critic because, he said, he likes his show.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Doug Walker even made a video about it. That's one of his most treasured things that he got from reactions.
That is.
Well, I can understand that, but oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know. You could respect Siskel and Ebert from, I think, the 80s and the 90s when no one else was doing what they were doing, which was really neat. But once you get to the 2000s where you have anime and video games and now we have mobile games and God knows what else on YouTube and web-based games, there's all kinds of content. You have to broaden your horizons and understand that the billion-dollar industry that has taken over the world, which is bigger than all the other entertainment combined, might be a bit artistic. And you can criticize it as opposed to just saying, oh, it's just for kids.
It's effectively like theater critics and actors saying that television or film is not art because it doesn't capture the stage. Yeah, and just people long before that said theater is not art because it's just people dressing up and saying stupid things.
I'm sure the film critic,
this is just the transition.
Who saw a film and went, "Oh, that's not art. There's no real stage. There's no interaction with the audience or whatever." You're like, "What?" So, or painting is not art. It's just still life. It's just one frame. I have a whole movie to work. It's like all these dumb arguments.
How's photography art? You're not painting anything. You're just using a physical effect in order to just capture a realistic image of what you see. That's not art.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It just goes through that.
Okay, well, we don't know what this guy's going to say. I haven't seen this dude before. I'm getting the vibe that's this pretentious kind of crap, but we always get that.
One word in favor of Ebert I would like to drop is that he did like Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Made an on the special edition of the on the extra DVD. There is a special with Siskel and Ebert analyzing the film and its artistic tools. And especially praising the visual punctuation that it uses, that we see so often in Asian cinema, especially anime, and that we almost never do anymore in the West.
Cool.
These for whoever listens who doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's these you have things happen, and then you have this quiet landscape shot where nothing's going on, just a very still image, usually with with more work put into it than other backgrounds. That gives you a moment to rest, to think, to let what happened sink in, and to process it. Something that the I'd say worst opposite of that are Michael Bay movies that give you absolutely no moment of rest ever, so that you don't notice how stupid everything is and how nothing makes sense.
All right. Well, I think we're all on the watch together. We got 12 minutes to go.
Now, where's my chat window?
I don't know.
On your screen.
I wish.
How does Microsoft Windows work? I don't know.
That is another issue.
All right. Anyway, let's get started.
There has to be some reporting in every review. I mean, first of all, you have to play fair with your reader. Here's what I think a movie review should do. The first thing it should do, it should give some notion to the reader of what the movie is about and what it is like. If you play fair with your reader, you can give a movie a bad review and they'll still be able to read that review and know that they would like to go see that movie. You shouldn't just, blast it in such a way that the reader would think no reasonable person would ever want to go to this film. You have to give the movie its day in court, too. There has to be something in there that conveys what the experience is like.
So not too long ago, I released a video where I discussed some of my biggest problems with internet movie critics. This video isn't going to be like that video. This video is for the most part unscripted, and there won't be any fancy editing in the video either, since I wanted to just have a much more relaxed discussion about the topic.
So he's committing, intellectual suicide? I didn't prepare anything. I'm just going to go off the cuff. Blah, blah, blah. Like, okay.
Yeah, I really thought this is a skit because he seems to be in character for something.
He seems to be missing a few haircut appointments. But yeah. Sure, whatever.
Well, maybe he's saving up.
Saving up for cancer, donate a wig or something. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe like that, yeah.
All right. Always think on the positive side of things.
I really wanted to test this new Sony F3 that I'm filming this on, as well as the new Rode NTG4 that's recording all the audio. First of all, I'd like to explain my last video and answer some of the questions about why I included certain movie critics and then excluded certain others. Originally, I wanted to do the video without name-dropping anyone at all because, generally speaking, I feel like videos where you discuss other YouTubers and content creators by critiquing them and calling them out by name is generally really sensationalist, and there's not really any right way to do it without...
Why is it sensationalist? We do it all the time. It's nothing sensationalist about it. It's just, we watched this guy, his name was this, and his thing...
But you gotta go into the specifics at one point where you're discussing the video and, people will know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
If it's, very noticeable.
Can you imagine, talking about Angry Joe and not mentioning his skits, or the comedy from...
His temper.
Or yeah, when he outbursts and he just makes no sense. There's lots of stuff to criticize other critics about, but they're doing it for effect, so you don't take it seriously. It's just annoying at times.
God, when he was at the Game Awards and he embarrassed himself in front of Jeff Kinley.
Oh, that was...
Oh, God.
That was kind of sad because he said that he was going to get an interview and he never did, but then he just, okay, fine, here's 5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes. And he was like, oh. So he started rushing through his notes and you're like, ooh, this is not good. Oh, yeah.
That was really bad.
Oh, great, my browser caught up. What the hell am I looking at?
We don't know yet.
We don't know. Let's see what we got. Get
off as if you're looking for attention, But I eventually realized that if I didn't specifically state
the
who
double
the people
camera.
that were suffering from the problems that I talked about actually
A
were,
camera,
I would probably
B
just
camera.
confuse a lot of people, and I'd get a lot of comments asking me if I was talking about X movie reviewer or Y movie reviewer. So I just ultimately decided that it would be...
This script is not matching his words, just in case you haven't noticed. So I think he typed this up and then just after maybe he did it before and he just didn't care after he...
But he said it's unscripted, so...
then who wrote this? This is wrong. Reviewer is not the same word as critic. Oh.
best to just come right out and speak my mind. Unfortunately, though, I still got a lot of comments from people asking me what my opinions on certain critics that I didn't include in the video are, and for the most part, the critics that I didn't include in the video fall into two main categories. There's the people that I wanted to discuss more thoroughly than I could have realistically done in this video, in which case those critics will get their own individual video somewhere along the line, and then there's the people that I just really didn't have that much to say about. The most popular person in this category would be I Hate Everything, who I originally wanted to include in the video, but after going back and watching a lot of his content, I found that the overwhelming majority of it is pretty much just boring, because he tends to only go after low-hanging fruit by only reviewing movies that already have overwhelmingly negative reviews on places like Rotten Tomatoes.
What's the problem with that? Like people can't review anything because people have already reviewed it or bombed it on a website that no one should care about.
And then the whole shtick is to make these really bad things known to the rest of the world who haven't even looked at it or known that it exists. There is a point to doing this. It's like showing the world, look, this is shit. Don't make shit.
Yeah, but his argument is he's too boring and his videos everyone else hates, so why bother? It's like, what? Then what's the...
That's another issue.
Is he
That's
perfect?
another issue.
Yeah, and also I think I Hate Everything was the first one that I saw the not Disney collection and the not Pixar collection. It's like a collection of horrible bootleg animations from bigger studios. And what basically happens is that some COD category studio in South America decides to make a movie just from the visuals or teaser posters that they publish from Disney or Pixar. I think Kung Fu Panda turned into a little panda fighter, and it's really bad. It's like, wow, half a person animated it.
Okay, so
that sounds like what was it? Turkish Star Wars?
Yeah, kind of like that. But Turkish Star Wars actually stole some footage from the real Star Wars.
All right, so he doesn't like this dude because it wouldn't coincide with his criteria for what other reviewers miss, I guess. So that's, or he just doesn't like him. That's fine. He doesn't.
By the way, hi Beta. How's it going?
I didn't see you. Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Just fine. I just got done eating dinner.
Oh, okay, great.
Nice.
You're in the watch together. Everything's good.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Here we go. Oh, one sec. Just got a donation from Red Sus Over Paradise. Okay.
Oh God.
He looks like that pretentious camera operator from Better Call Saul. You know the one where Saul hires and always acts like he'd rather be anywhere else, and Saul always has to haggle with him? Yeah, that guy.
That's normal in this sort of profession, though. What I was wondering, if anyone notices whether there's any distortion from his glasses, please let me know, because it looks to me like there isn't. Either it is extremely weak that it's not actually required that he would need glasses, or it's really just fake glasses to look smart or fashionable.
They could be.
Yeah,
I hate when people
really
do that.
Glasses.
If it's fake glasses, it's to me that's like bordering on Münchhausen syndrome.
Oh, well, it could be because usually when you see someone with farsight, the newer lenses are not that thick, and you can tell that.
Oh, it's not about the thickness. I have minus 8.5 short-sighted, and my glasses are thin. But in order to get them so thin, it's bloody expensive.
Right.
So the thickness doesn't say much.
That's what I mean. This
but
could
there's you see from his cheek, from below the glasses to into the glasses. If he had any strength in those, there would be the lines wouldn't align. Like
exactly.
when he's farsighted, his facial lines in the glasses would be further out. His eyes look bigger, and if he was short-sighted, it would go inward, and his eyes look smaller.
That's why it feels like...
I didn't understand anything about that.
That's why it feels like older glasses with thick lenses that aren't very strong before we had the technology to make really thin, strong lenses.
I think they just look like thick lenses because it's such a large frame.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like they belong to his grandfather or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're old. Exactly, yeah.
He inherited them.
Like where he
dug
got
up the grave.
Where he got his woolen jacket and his dirty T-shirt.
I don't know. That I can't say.
Like I
don't care. Let's just move on.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
And personally, I just don't see what's so entertaining about shitting all over a movie that...
You know what? Maybe like jacket is from grandma or something.
It's like a sweater vest, or I don't know what you call those things.
Sweater, yeah, it looks feminine to me.
All right.
He got that at Burlington Coat Factory or Salvation Army.
Okay, never mind.
That I've already shit on before you did. But with that out of the way, I wanted to talk more about what I think is the biggest problem with movie critics here on YouTube. After a long year of shitting on movies and shitting on the people that make those movies, cynical movie critics all over YouTube will make a video about their favorite films of the year. Some may even go as far to make a video about their favorite films of all time. And while there are subtle differences between everyone's list, a lot of the times you see the same 5.
Wait. So he doesn't like when people shit on films that everyone else has because it's redundant or whatever. But then he says,
he doesn't like when people like the same movies as everyone else does.
But maybe there's reasons why, and it's really simple, because a lot of people, when we criticize stuff, they say, well, why don't you give solutions for your criticism? It's like, the solutions are very simple. Don't do the thing we just saw this guy do, or do the opposite. It's really that self-explanatory. Now, we could give detailed fixes, and I've done that with TLJ, I've done that with Mass Effect 2 for fun. That's because I'm a geek. But in general, it's just like, I just talked about it. It's like, there's a hole in the wall. Fix the hole. Don't make it look cheap. Make it look good. Clean it up. It's easy stuff. So, yeah, a lot of the film critics like a lot of the same movies because they're actually well done. It's that simple.
Movies on there, and they're usually the films that everyone already praised endlessly at the Academy Awards earlier in the year. The Wolf of Wall Street, The Revenant, Room, Boyhood, Moonlight, all of...
Room?
What?
Not The Room.
I've never heard a list of those 5.
Boyhood is the famous Red Letter Media joke they keep cracking up about.
Yeah, it took 12 years to make.
That was the worst list? The worst movie list?
I think he said that was the best movies.
I thought he wanted to make a best movies list, and he lists crap.
What is Moonlight? I don't even know.
It
sounds familiar, but I can't.
2017.
I can't think of it.
I think it's about a gay black man.
Oh. Probably not in my purview. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
Double oppressed.
These made a lot of people's top 10 lists at the end of the year. And while these movies are good, and yes, they may be some of the best films that came out that year, if the title of your video is My Favorite Films of 2019, are you really sharing your favorite movies or just the ones that were good? There's often...
What?
Okay.
Is this a poll?
What is this? Is his beef the titles of their videos and they all happen to have the same videos that everyone else likes? I don't... Oh, I mean, that's a weird thing to get excited over, but okay. Sure.
Been a lot of really good movies that come out throughout the year that just don't make it to the level of Oscar worthy, and I never see any internet movie critics even so much as mention a lot of them. And I guess you could make the argument that a lot of movie critics may not have seen these movies or just don't have the same taste as me. But in a sea of internet movie critics, you would think that there would be at least one popular film critic that would have something to say about any of these movies.
With some movies that only run at film festivals, it's hard to get to watch them without sailing the seven seas.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
I mean, we have TIFF going on, I think, right now in Toronto, and to get tickets was almost impossible. Like, you really have to shop for them. So he's like, oh, these YouTube critics only have mainstream Oscar-worthy films or Oscar-nominated films. It's like, yeah, because everyone has access to them. No one's going to give a shit about some no-name movie that doesn't have international acclaim or not everyone even knows exists.
Yeah. And it's like in another language and like 5 people made it.
Right, exactly.
And 10 watched it at the festival.
Yeah, like this is the
for example, there's this internet phenomenon about the Don Hertzfeld short films, that little animated short films that I think he was upset that they were being pirated online or being spread online. Because he only wanted them at movie festivals.
I don't remember, but this reminds me of the I can't remember that Italian director who actually starred in Life is Beautiful back in the 90s. Like, that was a foreign film that I don't know if it was at Cannes or some film festival. I can't remember where it started. And it was so liked that it eventually got overseas and, got into theaters, and it won some Academy Award or whatever. And you see him, the Italian guy running up the stage and being so excited. It's like, yeah, sometimes these films, which are good universally, do get seen, but it's very rare. So, yeah, it's good that we get some cross-pollination between countries and their films. Like, I haven't seen any Bollywood films. I'm sure they're out there that made it to the West. They're just not well known.
My name is Khan made it to the West.
Okay,
that's an actually really good Bollywood movie. They retained the dancing solely to the credits.
Oh, really? Because most of them are action-packed, crazy physics, stupid war tribe nonsense. You're just like, okay, this is stuff. This is wire-fu with guns and people.
Yeah, but I recommend My Name is Khan to everyone. Written Khan, Khan. It's actually an actual good movie about an autist with a love story, Bollywood style. But it's well written, nice characters, and the struggles are also portrayed very, very well. It's basically, think of it like a down-to-earth Forrest Gump of India.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I saw it in a sneak peek here in my town when our cinema was run by a really cool guy. We had weekly sneak peeks, and one time My Name is Khan ran here, and I was absolutely amazed by the movie.
Isn't there that movie that's like gaining a lot of traction right now on the internet? The one that's like called Triple R.
Yes.
I don't think that's Bollywood. I think that's like a indie movie. I don't think it's Bollywood, but that one's. I see that one like every so often, like on the internet. Someone's talking about it. Someone's making a video.
I think I saw the Critical Drinker tweeting about that, like he was expecting like the typical Indian Bollywood movie, but like instead, like he saw something that he wanted to see from the West from a long time.
Yeah, from what I heard, I think it's like the Hindi version of like Triple X, the movie with Vin Diesel.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I think that's what it's supposed to be, but it's like their version of it.
Yeah, but it's probably all just action, crazy stunts, and
I would watch that. I think like the only Bollywood movie I watched was Aluda Mayaka, which was fucking insane. It has like a scene where he gets possessed and he needs to escape from the police, and he drifts with the horse under a truck. It's amazing. And then he breaks into a police station and he breaks through, I think, a desk, and he pulls out the revolver from the briefcase.
Bollywood still knows how to have fun.
Well, that movie was 3 decades old, but like, oh god.
I forgot what because I can't find it because I can't remember the title. Always wanted to see it. The one with I don't know if it's Indian or Chinese. I think it's Indian. About a robot, basically Terminator as a comedy with a self-replicating robot guy that turns into a ball of death of several.
I was just going to bring that up. I remember seeing that. I saw clips of it. Like he's wearing like an all blue suit or something like that, and he can make copies of himself. But yeah, he makes like the ball of death. He also makes like a giant snake at 1.2 out of like his clones. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I never learned what the name of it was though. I saw like a montage of like clips of it from like a few years back.
I knew the name back then, but I didn't get around to watch it back then, and by now I've completely forgotten the title. By the way, I think Kubo and the Two Strings only ran on film festivals for a long time, and I had extreme trouble getting a copy of it. I desperately wanted to see it, and I just couldn't get a copy of it. And that's how you end up in the obvious place to get your copy.
All right, here's Mike.
It is on my shelf now, but in order to get to watch it, like there was simply no way for me to make a trade of resources in order to get it.
All right, here's Mike Hawk. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Phony glasses. I don't know if they're phony. Baggy-ass clothing. A haircut straight out of 2005. Is this guy trying a bit too hard to make a brand for himself? Seems like that. Look, I get this taste is Dutch art films nobody watched, but other people have different taste. We're not sure what his tastes are unless you watched his other videos, but he's coming off across as a bit pretentious. Just a touch.
Yeah, honestly,
he also needs a bit of an energy boost.
Rolled out of bed. He looks like he rolled out of bed and put his glasses on, and he's like, "Okay, let's make a video."
Will be wrong.
The profile is really zoomed in.
It's the level of energy of taking one too many joints last night, and
yes, like he has like that phase that he was like smoking so much.
Yeah, he wrote all his ideas down as he was smoking his joint, and then
maybe he was smoking
the next morning.
Away his
like,
ideas.
okay, let's see what I got.
Yeah, but he didn't have a script, so he's winging it. They're like
he smoked it away.
He burned the script.
Yeah, I don't know why he has different angles. Like he's had like 3 different angles that he's shot this from. I'm like, why? It's just you, my dude.
He's doing the contractual thing.
He started the film, or he started the video saying, I want to test out my new camera. And you're like, okay. How about the old camera? We're going to use all cameras? Just all the cameras. Okay.
Great. Yeah, it's like the next edition of the George Lucas technique. A camera, B camera. Now there's a C camera.
Anyway, 4 minutes in. Let's keep going.
Yeah, and the Copper Owl. Yes, Kubo is brilliant. Watch it.
All right.
Don't spoil it. Just watch
bad
it.
or indifferent. But sadly, a lot of movies just fly under these people's radars because they're just not the movies that everyone's talking about.
Or they just don't have access to them, or they never heard of them. That's fair. It's fine. Leave them alone.
And whenever film critics do make a video talking about underrated movies, it's always the same movies over and over again. Drive, Nightcrawler, Cinedoki, New York. And while all of these are great movies, if everyone's calling them underrated, are they really underrated?
Yeah.
At the time, yes. Yes, they are underrated. And eventually, when people catch on to it, it's no longer underrated. But yes.
Is this
like Planescape Torment?
Is this such a difficult concept? At the time,
yes.
No one knows about this really underrated film. Why is it underrated? Because no one has rated it yet. No one knows about it.
Yeah, or you have movies that are like panned by the critics. You know, the critics hate them so much, but then like 10 years down the road, they're like, you know what? This is actually really good.
Yeah, we just couldn't see the diamond in the rough here.
Yeah, it's got charm.
For this opinion to be made, meaning for him to say, are they really underrated? It's like, well, you have to have this massive amount of foresight or future knowledge that 10 years from now, this story, this game, this video is going to be so amazing that no one could see its brilliance. Which
I think what we're rather witnessing is another instance of an inability to understand linear time.
I don't know. It could be like, if only these critics knew what I knew. If only they could talk to me for 5 minutes, they'll see my brilliance and my insight into the world of cinema. You're like, okay. Share us your wisdom, oh great critic person.
Martin Scorsese is an amazing director, but how come whenever he comes out with a new movie, it's always in everybody's end of the year lists? Same thing with Wes Anderson or Quentin Tarantino. Yes,
because
Wolf of Wall Street.
Because
Okay, dude,
you yourself
pick a camera to
they're
look at.
amazing people, they're amazing directors.
So let
So
me.
of course there'll be the movies that stand out in the year. What does your brain logic know?
The amazing director makes an amazing film. Is it really an amazing film? Yes.
Oh, why is the amazing film in everyone's best of the year list?
What?
Dude, do you have brain cells? What kind of complaint is that? I think this is a poll.
No, I
Because
think
he tried
I'm
to sell
starting
us-
to understand like why it has so many dislikes.
He tried to sell us shitty movies as being on everyone's best movies list.
Gonna add
When
another
was
one.
this video made?
3
years ago.
3 years ago? Okay.
Yeah, so whatever
Yeah.
2019 came out, I don't even know what was popular then.
Yeah.
Was that the Joker year?
Rise of the
Yes,
Skywalker.
yes, it was. But he might have made. Yeah, I don't know when. Yeah, because Joker was in October in the U.S.
October, yes.
Yeah, so. Yeah, who knows? I don't know what the date was,
Irishman
but he-
already came out.
Oh, maybe.
When did Irishman come out? But that only came out to. Did that come out to theaters? I think it only came out to Netflix, didn't it?
Netflix, yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it came out a bit before Joker. Whatever.
All right. Fair enough.
It was an amazing film, but I don't think it was anywhere close to being one of my favorite films of that year, mostly because I have really oddball taste.
Wait a second. You're saying it's an amazing film, universally praised, everyone loves it, but to me, it wasn't that good because my tastes are different. It's like, are you listening to yourself right now, sir? Do you understand what you just said
I
logically?
don't think he is. I think he's incapable of reflection and empathy.
My favorite, but I have an oddball taste. Okay, so that means that like your favorites are not gonna reflect like what the pop votes gonna be.
Is he jealous of other movie critics who get like, well, their opinions are like this, but if I was saying it, I would say that. You're like, but
From a certain point of view.
Okay, just make your own lists then.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Show us
gonna look at
how
his
your
channel if he has a
opinions
list.
are great and the movies you like are great and why they are great.
And there's nothing wrong with you making a list and saying why you like them. That's totally fine. But
Yeah, it's your opinion.
why
Yeah,
are you
maybe under your aspects of why you like them, it makes sense to list them like that.
like this isn't like a I don't know, like a car critic, and we don't get certain cars in the West that Europe has, and there's some amazing Subaru that was released in like Eastern Europe that no one else got. Oh, no, why doesn't anyone know about this Subaru? It's like, well, why don't you look at production pipelines and how they release cars in Europe and as opposed to everywhere else in the world, and then you'll get your answer. And then you wouldn't be saying annoying bullshit like, well, why don't the people in the West who review cars know about this Subaru? It's like, because it wasn't made there. They don't.
That would require research, Smud. Can you look at this guy and be like, yeah, he does his research. Yeah.
I don't know what this guy does. He's
But,
Bubble
for
Boy, I don't know.
something maybe relatable or not or comprehensible in regards to oddball taste would be cringe humor worthy B movies, the type that the media likes to watch. What's your favorites of that from this year, or movies with lots of gore effects, which are likely not AAA movies? So those will always all be movies that barely anyone knows.
Yeah, there's so many films on Netflix that, as big as Netflix is or was, no one's heard of these films because there's no advertising.
Yeah.
No
But
one-
under your those attributes, you will be able to make an objectively sensible list of movies that nobody knows. That's how you advertise them, and that's how more people get to know them, and that's how maybe they go from underrated to properly rated.
All right, here is Kyogray's Hideout. Hey, thank you, sir. Speaking of great foreign films, I highly recommend watching Who Killed Captain Alex, and then he provides a link to a YouTube...
Get the fuck... No, you're right, dude. Like, that is a movie that everyone should see.
That sounds suspicious.
I can't click on the link because of my software, but he did provide a YouTube link, so check out Who Killed Captain Alex in YouTube, and you could bitch to him later if you like.
The sequel is coming out very soon.
Wow.
Wow, I've heard.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of sequels, they're making a sequel to Constantine.
Wasn't it canceled? I think I
don't know. I just heard about it today. Like,
okay,
they're working on it right now.
Oh, the
with
movie.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was...
Oh, the movie. Okay, because I think like HBO has canceled like a Constantine TV show.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about that.
Thanks for that.
Because of the release of the Sandman show on Netflix, because they couldn't use Constantine IP because, I don't know, conflicts. So I thought they were going to make the show still, but...
Didn't they turn Constantine into a woman in the show?
Exactly, yeah. So
okay.
God.
It was kind of weird, but it's like, all right, fine. That is like a professional choice. It makes perfect sense. I didn't like it, but fine. But now they're not making the series or the film. It's like, okay. Good job. Fantastic, DC. Doing well there. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm looking at this guy's channel right now.
Same, and ironically, someone was complaining about that, like, people are just like going for popular stuff. He's just going for the popular YouTubers.
Yeah.
Like his entire chat, like, more than half of it is just like criticism of like bigger channels, like Reddit the Media, Ralph the Movie Maker.
He's got a video here. Dated films aren't bad films, and he puts bad films in quotations.
Okay.
That's a short one. It's like 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
And also James Rolfe, the angry video game, the Times Forgotten filmmaker. Like, everyone knows that guy. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm getting jealousy vibes here.
He is.
I think there's a lack of maturity. I don't know. There's something weird about his sentences that just sound like, if you just thought about them for like 10, maybe 20 seconds, like, what am I really trying to say here? And then think through the logic of it, you're like, oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. My advice would be write your script by hand. Take a piece of paper and a pen and write your script that way. That way you get it slow, and you have more time to think about your sentences than just typing. You are not at the stage where you can ramble off the cuff.
Yeah, I think he actually did write a script, but he told us that he didn't. Because there's something about this that just doesn't, like, it feels like it's scripted, and then the script itself, the subtitles are completely off.
Oh, yeah.
You have subtitles?
I was watching anime and I had that experience.
It's this. If you guys read the subtitles on the Watch Together and you hear his words, it's like someone either purposely misspelled and mismatched the words in order, or he just uploaded it without caring, which means he wrote a script. Anyway.
Oh yeah, there is an American English one.
Yeah.
Because I was like suspecting that it's like auto-generated.
No, it's not, because these words are they're synonyms of other words he used, and he put them in different places. So someone literally had to write this out.
I'm curious about this one video he's got. Why I dislike the term cinematic failure.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's from 2 years ago. So I'm curious about that one.
Yeah,
like I might watch that one when we're done here.
I'm gonna guess you're not gonna get too much insight into what a cinema.
Probably not. But
probably not. But
I'm curious.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's keep going.
What a fucking
and I feel
anomaly.
like if more film critics on YouTube were being genuine rather than just agreeing with the majority opinion, I feel like you would see.
Red Letter Media does not agree with pretty much anyone. They just do their own thing.
Yeah. They even when they agree with someone, they're gonna like say something that's gonna be like very unique to their style.
Remember their opinion on the Obi-Wan show? They liked it because it was so low budget. It's like, what? Why would you like something like that?
Because they
yeah,
like
that was a
B-movie crap.
strange video.
It was so
I think
unprofessional of them. Like that's why it was good. You're like, what? It was crap.
I think it's but I think it's the product of two things. Number one, they're burned out about Star Wars. Like it's dead. It's they've given up. They're just laughing about it at this point. It's the only way to cope with it at this point.
Why
And
make
the
a
second
video about
element, because it's popular, and or at least it's not popular in the sense of a lot of people watch it, but it's popular in the sense of a lot of people talk about it.
But probably because like they just covered so much Star Wars, they feel obliged to cover that.
Yeah. Same with Star Trek. Well, what I'd say is the second element is that Red Letter Media likes cringe watching B-movie stuff, and that's what Obi-Wan is.
It's a higher end version of that.
It's high budget B-movie crap.
There you go. That explains a lot if you think about it that way. Yeah.
It's like the B- of AAA.
Yeah, this is the same logic I give to my dad, who grew up drinking really bad wine, so that he's at
C-.
so that when he's adult now, he knows like what's really, really bad. So when he has like a moderately priced wine, he's like, oh, you could taste this, you could taste that. It's like, yeah, but this is like $9 wine. Like, yeah, but it's so good. Like, what? You taste things that you normally wouldn't, just because.
Or he would have a field day at Lidl if he would come here.
Well, you know what?
You can buy wine for €40.
Yeah. Oh wow. He'd be very happy. Yeah. Oh boy, my Italian grandfather. Italy. Yeah, my Italian grandfather did not know how to make good wine at all, and everyone knew that. So.
Yeah, same with mine.
It's so funny stories. Anyway,
like, it's the kind of stuff that you scare away people with.
Yeah, it's like I grew up drinking wine when I was like 2, and I was like, diluted with ginger ale, but I had no idea what was good wine until my dad went, "Yeah, don't drink that." Don't touch it. Okay.
More of their oddball tastes shine through in their reviews rather than just hearing them regurgitate the same shit and over again.
Prove it.
Now, while it may seem like I'm being harsh here, I don't feel like a lot of movie critics do this for the sake of fitting in. I think it's mostly done because people like Scorsese and Tarantino have been in the industry for over 20 years. I mean, that's longer than a lot of these movie critics have been alive.
So? And
Scorsese and Tarantino have very unique styles that have had a lot of impact on filmmaking.
They know what they're doing.
This is a non sequitur. What the hell are you talking about?
How is this related to anything that he was talking about? It feels like he had like some different topic 5 minutes ago, but like he cut that entire.
Yeah, this is woman brain logic. You went from one idea to half an idea to another whole idea, and you're like, what? Where did you had Scorsese in the sentence? Then you just jumped to talking about Scorsese. And you're like, why?
What the hell is this video?
Is he complaining about Scorsese movies being good and therefore getting acclaim?
I guess.
Because Scorsese knows what he's doing?
Because they've been around for so long, therefore they must be good, and I'll just keep...
Neil Breen has been around for decades, and his movies are still crap.
Yeah, he never gets better.
How long you are around doesn't account for much.
I wonder if Neil Breen actually took a class in like how to make film.
He was probably there for like 10 minutes, and then he got up and walked out.
I could do better than my teacher. And he storms out.
He's like, hey, there's not a lot of security around here. I could probably film some stuff before I get caught.
Yeah.
Oh, he will tell his teacher that I already made 6 movies. You do not tell me how to do movies. Who am I?
What am I?
Neil Breen. What? I don't understand. Like, why is it people who make like really crappy movies like you sit there and you go, have you never watched a movie ever?
Well, I think I heard like an interview with Neil Breen, and he said like he's purposely making those movies bad because like.
Well, yeah, that's Neil Breen, but I'm talking like those bad movies in general, like The Room or Birdemic, movies like that. It's like, have you ever watched a movie like you're all over the place?
I think like from those like Room was like genuinely bad because he saw it, but Birdemic was trying to be a bad movie for the sake of being a bad movie. Yeah. I so what I heard from it.
Yeah, I'm sure he said that after the fact.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
No, I was doing it on purpose. Like, yeah, sure, okay.
That's what Tommy was so
What was
said.
that? Incredible Bulk? What was the name?
Oh, really?
When it's like just a purple monster that has a horrible CGI walking around. It's like meant to be like a parody of the Hulk. That was purposely trying to be as bad as The Room, but like the guy was too pretentious.
Oh dear.
All right.
A question I have is, who here knew Neil Breen movies before Red Letter Media talked about them?
I knew about Double
Down
Down before the Red Letter Media saw it.
I think
really?
there were websites that had like animated GIFs and scenes from films that you're like, what the hell is that? And they made like fun little memes like 15 years ago, like You're the Man Now, Dog. I think one of those.
Oh my God, I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was a whole website
Dedicated to like bizarre, like animated.
Well, it was just that one clip playing over and over and over again with sound.
Yeah, so it would be like you could take any part of a film.
Oh my God, I remember that.
And just make your own little animated, not an animated GIF, but like an animated movie thing in the HTML. It was kind of a weird website, and anyone could do it.
Yeah.
And they took like films you've never heard, like foreign films, adult films, and they made them like hilarious. And you're like, what the hell am I looking at? So it was. I think one of them was ostensibly from a Neil Breen film, but I didn't know which one it was at the time. So it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I watched someone else like covering like a Neil Breen film, and I was like, they were playing the clips of it, and I was like, what the fuck?
It's pretty weird. It's bizarre. Like when you saw them in
It is very bizarre.
Like he's doing things on a computer, then he's ratcheting a brace or a bolt.
He's breaking laptops.
Yeah, you're like, what are you doing with your satellite dish?
He has all the laptops.
Yeah, he's checking on 3 laptops at the same time.
And he uses the same laptops in all his other movies.
He just breaks them for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I would say through Red Letter Media, Neil Breen has become a much wider known phenomenon, at the very least in the generation around when Red Letter Media talked about it.
Well, yeah. That and like was the other guy, like Your Movie Sucks. I think like he was massively like boosting like Neil Breen movies. Yeah.
And it's through that this obscure stuff gets known more.
Yeah.
And isn't that what you want? So why complain about the big channels then?
Because you got to talk about something.
I don't know what his topic is. He's shifting to talking about old directors, and you're like, fine. Just because they're old.
They've been in the business for 20 years. I think they've been in business a lot longer than 20 years.
Yeah. And anyone who remembers Wolf's channel, he covered all the shitty movies, like what was it, 6 Dragonheart movies?
Yes.
Like nobody even knew existed.
I knew there was 2. The first one and the second one, but I didn't know there were 6.
There's a lot of like direct to VHS or DVD movies. And I think one of them has Patrick Stewart playing the dragon.
Yes.
Sure, why not?
Hilariously bad.
And like, what was the other one? Like the animated movie, like Alpha Omega or something.
I mean, it's not that much worse than Rings of Power.
Rings of Power. Every minute is $1 million. It's amazing.
Amazing, isn't it?
My brain just goes, "What? That was $1 million? Wow."
Where is it? Where is where is it hidden?
Is
it under the tree?
I could have built a whole village with $1 million instead of all those props they used. Anyway.
As a whole, and a lot of new directors take a lot of inspiration from them, so much so that techniques that were once seen as unique to these directors are now the industry standards when it comes to making movies. What I believe happened is...
No, that is not true for Tarantino movies, because everyone who tries to emulate Tarantino fails.
What does that have to do with...
He gets away with a lot of shit.
What does that have to do...
It's not just the getting away, it's that he knows how to do what he does. And other people, they don't understand the essence of why his scenes work.
But what did that have to do with the original point that these people are just loving these classical directors for all these years? And
Absolutely nothing.
he just changed cameras and the topics dropped. Is that it?
Maybe he like rotated his head.
I am not a fan of this extreme close-up.
Like it's kind of like those record players from the old times that like he moved the head just a bit so he can no longer remember like what he was talking about.
The record hits a skip. It's like onto the next track.
Onto the next track.
Does he have a cutting room where he cuts the VHS recordings?
Yes.
All right. Well, we're half done, so that's good.
Hooray.
Is that a lot of these film critics grew up watching movies by Scorsese or Tarantino or Spielberg or Wes Anderson, and so as they got older, the things that they look for in movies are things that remind them of those directors,
No.
which just so happen to be the things that are included in a lot of Academy Award-winning movies, because a lot of the...
No, a good movie is good because it's a good movie in all aspects. It's not because like it looks like that style. They may recognize the style of like a different director or like writer or actor, but it's not gonna make it that like, oh, I wanna look for that kind of movie. No.
Yeah. Also, if you're gonna copy, sorry to cut you off. Also, if you're gonna copy someone else's style, you're gonna get called out for it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's this is totally Tarantino, 100% Tarantino. They ripped it off from Tarantino.
Yeah, it's. I remember that when Joker came out, that a lot of people were complaining, this is just King of Comedy and Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver, yeah.
Which, by the way, are both relatively similar movies because they were both made by Scorsese. They follow a very similar structure. They have different conclusions, but the style is very similar.
Yeah.
To make Joker in that vein is more of a homage than a ripoff. I
remember, I don't know if you guys remember watching Goodfellas. It's a Martin Scorsese movie. He has...
Yes, I've seen it.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic movie. He has this shot where they go into this restaurant, and it takes like...
One take, yeah.
It's one take, and I remember watching The West Wing, and he had a lot of long takes, but he also had this really, really long take where they go through a restaurant. And it's like this reminds... Well, it's not exactly like Goodfellas, because Goodfellas was a lot more dynamic and longer and funnier.
I mean, the big one-shot scene?
Yeah, it's another big one-shot where the camera's... Instead of following...
It follows the character.
Instead of following the character in the Goodfellas, this one's like... It's pulling, so it's ahead of the characters as they're walking toward the camera. And it's just one giant long shot. And you could even tell where the actors screw up and the other actors know the other actors' lines and they're trying to get them to keep going. So it's like you can't do it very easily, but because this is a TV show, you got to hurry it up. So it's kind of funny to see that, but it reminded me so much of that scene from
and that's the thing that gets copied a lot too, is the long take. It's gotten to the point now where people are sick of it. They hate it. Look, another long take, like Scorsese or whoever,
Yeah, it's like something that you can only use rarely, and you have to do it perfectly.
But people use it a lot.
Not just a long shot.
Use it a lot.
It needs to be an actual symphony.
Right, and
it's like in a video game cinematic. There you can easily do that because it's animated.
They used it in the Cruella movie, I remember. Well, where they follow her on her job.
Oh, really? Well, nowadays you have anyone can afford, or at least buy a less expensive Steadicam, and I've seen guys in Toronto who just walk around Toronto and they film it for like an hour. And hey, this is downtown Toronto. I'll walk down Queen Street. You're like, ba-ba-da-ba-da. Looks great. It looks like the quality is fantastic. It auto zooms. You don't have to think. You just hit the play button and record. It's great. So I'm glad we have that capability, but you still have to know what you're doing when you're filming a scene. It's not just one guy with a camera.
There needs to be a payoff.
Yeah, and a movie that did the one shot as the entire movie, but faked it because you have to at that level, was Birdman. It did. If you knew where to look, you could see the cuts. But the point of and you may not realize this right away, but as the film goes on, you can catch up that this movie is not taking breaks. It's just a continuous flow throughout the days, throughout several days, and you do not notice the seams because it's meant to be this eternal stressful trip. So you get as the main character gets more stressed out, you subtly get more stressed out as well as you watch it because there's no real break there.
Cool.
But it's the slow. There's no real break there compared to the Michael Bay explosion, this scene, that scene, explosion. Don't think. No, Birdman, while not taking a break, is slow enough that you can comprehend what's happening.
That's cool. I'm going to watch Birdman now.
You didn't watch Birdman? Watch Birdman. Birdman is good.
Okay.
People in the Academy grew up with those films as well, and a lot of the filmmakers that make those movies were inspired by the people that worked on those classic films as well, whether it be in the storytelling, in the visual style, or even in the casting choices. And while you may not notice these things while you're watching the movie,
your brain certainly does.
And the reason why you see a lot of the same types of movies getting all the praise from critics is because a lot of critics just haven't evolved past their love for the filmmaking standards that they grew up with. And that's their thing to come to terms with. And
now you're truly pretentious.
Can you believe that my tastes in video games have never gotten past Dig Dug?
Yes, maybe like Smud is playing Dig Dug even right now.
What I missed to say before the last stop was that the way he talks is like a kid that believes himself to have understood how the world works without the life experience and wisdom that comes with living a couple more decades to understand how it actually works and to comprehend how wrong you are right now. This is pure juvenile arrogance.
This is assuming every YouTuber is a film critic or went to film school or whatever, and they grew up on watching Scorsese films and whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, like, except for like a few of those, like the majority have just seen like Star Wars and like the other like popular crap.
Yeah,
they don't give a single shit about.
Even Mike and Jay from Red Letter Media are totally different on the spectrum of, like, they're both film guys, but
way different.
Jay is
more of like an art house, grindhouse horror guy,
and Mike is just
like
sci-fi,
popular media. Yeah,
all kinds of stuff. And what's his name was a professional film critic, Rich Evans, for whatever newspaper, but he's also into sci-fi.
The irony.
Yeah, so it's like you have this blend of like the film artsy fartsy guy, the sci-fi geek, and you got like the sort of the film critic dude, and they bring in other guys who are in the industry as well. It's like that's a pretty good range of opinions.
Yeah,
and I don't see them as biased in one way or the other. Maybe Jay in certain ways because he says, "I really like this director and he does this, so I was okay with watching the film because this is what I was expecting," which is fair, because if you go into a Scorsese film, you expect. Or Wes Anderson, you expect a certain style and you expect a certain range of comedy. So it's like, yeah, that's fair. He knows what he's getting into. He knows more than the average person. But when he doesn't get that, he's then we might have a problem because we don't care about what we expect the director to do. We care about, is this a good film? Is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like we gotta like judge the movie on its own merits, but it's like a fun thing for us to do that. Like, hey, is this movie very similar to like the previous one this director has made, or did he invent something new?
Right. So when you see Episode 5 from Star Wars, you're like, wow, this is so different. But is it good Star Wars? Like, yeah, it sounds, feels, looks much different than what I was expecting from Episode 4, but it's still in the same setting, same characters. I get the same vibe. And it works for me. Like, some people didn't like it at the time. A lot of people loved it. Now it's one of those things like 10 years later, oh, it's amazing. Now that you think about it. And now it's heralded as the best Star Wars film ever. So, interesting stuff.
There was a film critic, like an internet film critic, who actually became like a movie writer. He used to be part of the well, now they are the Double Toasted crew. Robert Cargill, he went off and he actually wrote his own movie. Well, he was like the second writer. Sinister with Ethan Hawke. He wrote Doctor Strange, the movie. He also just recently did The Black Phone. But yeah, he started out as like an internet film critic, and
Seriously,
now he's
it's the same guy.
Yeah, that's him. It's the same guy.
Holy shit.
They actually the Double Toasted crew, like after he left to go make Sinister or write Sinister, they actually reviewed his film. They made it like a joking like little short where they said, oh, it was like complete shit, and then they show him like driving by like in a limousine, he's living the high life, and they're all just scrounging for cash. So it's funny. But yeah, he go ahead.
I do remember as I watched the Double Toasted guys talk about Cowboy Bebop, the live action. And,
oh no!
And they were praising it. They thought this was good. I was like, "Wow, really?" And this was their stream.
You know what? Double Toasted also thought Ghostbusters 2016 was good. So take that as you will.
Double Toasted, indeed.
Yeah. Well, it was during that time when everybody was like afraid to post a review of Ghostbusters 2016 because they were going to get blasted by the feminists.
And then James Ralph just posted a video that like I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah, I saw that clip. He's like, "No,
that was the best
one."
Yeah. And then people like torn him apart because he had like that Star Trek 5 what's that thing like merchandise shit next to his table. And like people were like, "Oh, but that's a bad movie," and he has like stuff like for that. Oh god, that was hilarious.
All right, let's just keep going.
With I have no say in that because I already broadened my taste just by going to lots of different film festivals. But ultimately, what I fear is that as time goes on and the market becomes more saturated and we have more different types.
I'm going to bet that the guys from Red Letter Media watched more films than this guy went to film festivals or whatever.
He actually made a video on it. This guy, he made a video. He says, "I watched all the Red Letter Media movies, so you didn't have to." That's the name of his video. It's like a 30-minute video, too.
Oh, dear.
Kind of curious what he has to say, but then at the same time, I'm like, nah, not really.
Yeah, no, those are all purposely.
I think I could live the rest of my life without knowing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, those are just silly.
Some of those movies that like Mike and Rich Evans made, that they were just kids. They are like very
this guy
artistic.
made a short video too. He made a short film.
Yeah.
I think he's just brought us another non sequitur. He claims that as the market of movies is more saturated, we have more and more different types of movies. I'd say rather the opposite. You have the types of movies that you can make exhausted. We see the same in video games.
Yep.
And it becomes really, really rare for someone to come up with a new subgenre or a new twist on something or a new style of doing something. That will be your Scorsese's and Tarantino's, by the way.
Yeah, this is why I usually bash turn-based, because there's just so many. It's like going to the fantasy section of a library or a bookstore. You're like, oh, more vampires, more dwarves and elves. I've read these books before. Not to say those books are bad, because some of them are actually pretty good. I like Terry Brooks, for example. But it does get too much, and it
does get too formulaic.
Yeah, I still like turn-based games. I prefer real-time, but I still will check out turn-based games if they don't hit the same notes as I'm expecting. And there's a lot. Believe me, this year had a lot of turn-based games. There's some coming out this week. There's some coming out in October. And you're like, okay, Square Enix does a good job. I will check them out for the sake of it. But for the most part, I'll be like, I'll wait another year until it goes down in price, get some reviews going, and then I'll check it. Because I'm going to get bored. I'm going to tell you right now, as fun as I might like the story, my brain will just go, ugh. Can't take it anymore. So it becomes a chore at that point. That's why I stopped playing. Anyway.
Movies coming out that these old qualities sticking around in the public's eye will eventually cloud out the ability for new things to come to the forefront and set a new standard of filmmaking genius. I'll use Suicide Squad as an example for the millionth time.
Whoa! Wait. Suicide Squad, the original or the Suicide Squad?
The original. This is not the... What's that director's name? Who made the Galaxy movies?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. This is not the James Gunn.
So the bad...
Yeah, this is back in 2019.
Yeah, the bad
this
Suicide.
guy has no comprehension of what quality actually is.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have seen
Maybe
the original.
take less drugs, boy.
Yeah, see,
I have seen it, and it was a pain.
It was pretty bad. Yeah, wasn't a good.
Yeah,
film.
I saw the first Suicide Squad movie.
Right. Okay, good. We're all on the same page.
Until people start appreciating the movie as much as I do. While I acknowledge that Suicide Squad is not a great film by any stretch of the imagination, Suicide Squad was probably one of my favorite films of 2016 just because it was a breath of fresh air from the absolutely done-to-death Marvel formula. Now let's imagine for a second that Suicide Squad came out long before the MCU.
So like any movie could have been there, because like he's just said like it's a breath of fresh air because it's not Marvel.
Yeah, how's it not like Marvel? You're gathering a group of people who have unique abilities to fight the big bad.
Yeah,
it's like Avengers.
It's a sky laser.
It's the evil Avengers, essentially.
But they're bad. That's why it's good.
Oh no, it's
because they've told us for the 500th time in that movie.
It's not the Marvel formula.
Morbius.
It's the DC using the Marvel formula. Okay.
It's essentially the evil Avengers. That's that whole movie. That Suicide Squad anyway is the evil Avengers.
It's
I mean, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but you know,
on the formula it goes by, it's more along a heist movie in a way.
Yeah, right.
Because the team is put together.
It's got
actively.
that energy. Yeah, it's got that energy of a heist movie,
which doesn't make sense. But there was arguably one or two good scenes. The one I remember was at the bar, and that was a heavily edited scene. It was longer, and they had all these personal moments between the characters and what they're doing in their life. And it was like, oh, this is good. This is what you wanted, and then it just goes away as soon as they realize they have to go die. Like,
I vaguely remembered that and remember liking that scene. I can't tell you details anymore, but yeah, I agree with that part. And it was one of the few good moments of that entire piece of garbage.
Yeah. Weird movie. Very repetitive. Very one.
Not thought out.
Hard to remember. Yeah.
You could do stuff with the material, and if you completely change the end fight and villain of that, or the way the villain plays out, don't do the fucking sky laser thing.
What it reminded me of was Deadpool 2, where you get those characters and they die within like 2 minutes of learning about them.
Oh yeah, the X-Force.
I thought that because that's a parody. Deadpool's a parody.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then you see that happen in this film. You're like, what? What was that supposed to happen? Did they run out of money? They just killed off a character for no? Okay, whatever. So
yeah, the only thing that's memorable about the Suicide Squad movie, the first one, was Jared Leto's Joker. That's the only reason people talk about that movie is because of that character.
I'm glad I forgot.
A totally needed character, by the way.
In my mind, the Jared Leto Joker has detached itself from Suicide Squad and exists in its own bubble.
When I was
because I forgot Suicide Squad, but I remember that, and I don't make the connection.
When I was thinking of the film, I completely forgot about Jared Leto. I completely forgot they filmed the scene with the car in Toronto and the Batman scene. Like I completely forgot about that. I did not even come into my brain until you brought it up. I was like, oh my god, that's right.
That was in there.
It happened. I couldn't remember it. That was like half the film.
Damn you for making me remember.
Oh my god, the rest was all just what's his name, Smith and
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie. Yeah. That was it. That was the whole film.
I'm so sorry, Smud. You were like, oh, this scene was very good. It was well shot. It was really great. And then you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Jared Leto was in it. Fuck.
They even
I
had
just brought you back down
They
again.
even had cut scenes of Jared Leto on some boat in like Toronto Harbor, I bet, and he was like doing this.
That was
crazy-
for the music video.
Oh my god!
What was that fucking song? Purple Lamborghini. He was just in there for no reason. It's like, yeah, let's put him in there. Fuck it. He just walks around, doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything.
Yeah, well,
He just walks around in front of the camera.
that is what he's good for. He's an ex-model, so
Yeah.
Jared Leto, cool guy.
Yeah, nice guy. I didn't know he was like in his 50s. He looks younger than that.
Oh yeah, he's gorgeous. He's
To me
But he
anyway,
had to
looks
do that
younger.
for more beers. Like he had to get young.
he had to wait.
Blood transfusion.
Everyone's like,
Yeah, it's that vampire blood.
we're ready to do
Yeah.
this in the '90s when Fight Club came out, but we have to wait till you're older. So they waited for it. All right.
was introduced. It's hard to imagine that people wouldn't respect the film at least a little bit more, since I feel like a lot of the negative backlash that film receives comes from people's insistence on comparing it to the MCU.
Okay.
No, there were other
not
things.
from me.
There were
It's
other
just bad on
things.
its own.
Like we just mentioned.
The only MCU films I've seen up to that point was the first Avengers film,
First Iron Man.
the first Iron Man, but that was like TV, and I barely watched
Oh,
80% of it, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I might have. Oh, I saw the X-Men in the cinema, the Phoenix thing, Dark Phoenix. That was kind of weird.
That was not MCU.
Oh,
Oh, was it? Okay, never mind. That's all I saw.
That
That's
was not-
all the Marvel films I've seen, except for
Maybe Galaxy movies.
Yeah, you're right.
The first
The
Galaxy
first
movie,
one
yeah.
I did see. Yeah, you're right. Not in the theaters though.
I haven't seen most of the X-Men movies. I
Like I don't compare.
You haven't missed out.
I would not compare Suicide
I
Squad to
know.
Marvel. I wish wouldn't do that. Why would you?
Yeah.
But
I
he
don't need to
spent
compare
like
to-
so much time on talking about like this
Yeah.
high artsy shit about like going to film festivals, and now he's going to defend Suicide
It's
Squad.
yeah, that doesn't really speak for his comprehension of what makes movie.
Like,
Yeah,
I,
with,
I
like,
you know,
3
want to
minutes
imagine like
left in the video.
Scorsese like watching Suicide Squad and like saying like, yeah, this is my boy. This is gonna carry on my legacy.
And it's because of movies like this that Scorsese said this isn't cinema.
Right. If he was arguing a film that's not pretentious but kind of artsy fartsy or off the beaten path that no one's really heard of or only made cinema for like 2 weeks in the West, and he's saying how good it is, then it's like, oh, okay, he's got an argument that we've never heard before, and this is what film critics should talk about because it's so good. And this happens all the time. You have all these films that no one heard of and they're really good, and only one part of the world knows about them. So he's not doing that.
Another general piece of advice: just because an artsy-fartsy movie seems to go over your head and you can't comprehend it, doesn't mean it's a good movie. Maybe it's just pretentious crap that's supposed to make you think that, but there's not actually anything behind
What
it.
was that? The one that won the award? It was this Asian film. I think it was Japanese, about a bunch of people living in rich people's houses.
It's the Korean movie
Parasite?
Parasite.
Parasite.
Yes.
Thank you. That one was
I never saw it, but I heard that got mentioned a lot.
It is a really good movie.
Right. Like something like that. Like that's what I would expect him to talk about, because yes, it got all these awards, but I've never gotten out of my way to hear about it, go check it out, see reviews, and
Same.
That's the thing that hey, there's this great film that the Academy did recommend, and no one watched it. Like, why?
And yeah, because like it came out at the same time as Joker, so like it was overshadowed. But
Yeah.
I would say like Parasite is like one of those few movies where like it got the awards, and I was like curious enough to check it out, and I had no regrets. It's absolutely brilliant. Like if you haven't seen it and you would like to see some like different kind of movie, it's like same as entertainment value as Joker, even more.
And
I personally liked it more than Joker, but
And it's a good introduction to Asian cinematic style.
and I think it's the same director who made Old Boy. If you know about that movie.
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that. It's one of those movies I regularly click on because I forgot. Did I watch that before? Then I start watching it and then I remember. Oh, it's that movie. I don't know why that effect is
Asian
going
movie,
on.
yes.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
but
there's two versions of Old Boy. There's the original one, and then there's the American remake.
Yeah,
There's a
the original
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, the original one.
Okay.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, the American remake that nobody remembers.
I didn't even remember that they made the.
I hope I never watched that.
Yeah, it's with Josh Brolin and Samuel L. Jackson.
Josh Brolin and Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
you
the
mean-
Avengers.
Oh,
No.
you mean that kind of remake?
Well,
Yeah, it's essentially the same movie almost,
If
but
you-
with American
the
actors.
stolen script.
Is it the
remake
same
because
ending, though?
Hollywood is too lazy to.
I never
to
saw
pay,
it. I never saw
Pay,
it.
pay American
Oh.
writers.
Well, as long as he's not talking about some really weird foreign stuff, like when we watched Survive Style 5, like that was just like, whoa, that is so strange. From Japan, if you were to watch that, you're like, okay, that probably wouldn't compete for, greatest.
That is an artsy-fartsy movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That belongs to a film festival that I would expect a guy as pretentious as him to know and love.
Something like that. This is what I would assume he would argue about. Like, why don't we have weird, crazy films that change the genres of blah, blah, blah expectations? You're like, yeah, sure. But
Guys, you should watch Evangelion. That is like a thing that like got criticism, even though it doesn't deserve it.
oh, jeez. Yeah, I can't argue with fanboys. I can't. After all this time, I just
No, it's reasoning with the irrational. It never works.
Why is it bad? Oh, jeez, I have to explain it again.
I must take my leave though because it's getting kind of late and I have work tomorrow.
All right.
But it was nice to be here.
All right.
Later,
Yeah.
Mark. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah. What you rather need to ask a fan is, not explain to the fan, but ask the fan. Explain to me what is so good about it, and then once the fan has argued that, you can engage with that. It's explaining the stuff down it never works. You have to get the other one to start thinking himself. Otherwise, it's just reactance.
All right, we are 2/3 done. Fantastic. The argument so far is I'm guy who knows film. Those other guys don't.
Claims
know film.
to.
Yeah.
Claims to know film.
Even playing field where being like Marvel or being like Scorsese or being like Spielberg wasn't the golden standard for what was considered a good movie. Could Suicide Squad have been to DC what Avengers was to Marvel?
No.
I feel like there's this guideline that is encouraged by films that are considered to be great, and that iterating on them is such a surefire way of creating the next great film that we don't then go out and try to create something totally different that could very well set the new golden standard for filmmaking, because it's proven that critics just won't respond to it as well.
What?
Wait. So he's saying the Marvel formula or whatever is safe, and therefore people won't do anything outside of that? Is that what he's saying?
I don't know.
Was this the? I'm sorry, migraine here. Was he saying that? Trying to say that movie critics want the same formulaic stuff all the time? I mean, that may be true for the shills, but they'll write up anything they're paid for.
Aren't most people? Sorry to cut you off. But
proper
aren't
movie
most people
critic.
getting sick of the Marvel formula these days?
Exactly. That's what I wanted to get to. Movie critics worth their salt. They get bored eventually, because that's what happens when you constantly have to consume every piece of media in your category of media for your job's purpose. It's like being a wine connoisseur, or whiskey or tea or whatever your food of choice is. You develop a taste, you develop a tongue for it, and you learn the patterns, and you learn to know what is good, what is bad, what is stale, what shouldn't be in there, and what's the aftertaste. And the same goes for movies. And so the critic worth his salt will be bored eventually and not want the same formulaic stuff. The good critic wants a little twist on something.
Yeah, there's there's films that got people excited because there's science fiction or they had a big budget and they were in the works for so long. What was the Thousand Suns or Thousand Planet with Valerian, the French comic?
Valerian and the Thousand Planets, yeah.
Yeah, there's all this hype about it. It looked really good. The trailer's like, oh, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be another space opera like Fifth Element. It's going to be really fun. And it was based off a comic, so it should be very easy to make.
Yeah, it was based off a comic that Star Wars was based off of.
Really,
to a certain extent.
Yeah, but the problem with the movie was that it took several volumes of the comic and crammed it into one movie.
Right.
Well, then it came out after Star Wars because it was essentially like the pre-Star Wars type of movie.
So
and it came out way too late.
So we were like, okay, this could be great, or we have no idea because no one's read the comic. So
it's like a French comic book, I think,
which could be super duper pretentious, but I don't know what the hell happened to it because I never watched it, but I heard it was stunk. So
I saw the movie. I thought it was okay, but
if you like sci-fi, give it a watch.
I will say this with regards to Luc Besson, he makes fantastic sets. Like Fifth Element, the Valerian movie. He makes a realistic set. Like I feel like I could get up and go to this place. It feels real. Like Fifth Element and the Valerian movie. I feel like I could actually go to this place.
Right.
It feels that real. But regards to the story, it's like it's kind of generic.
Right. And
it's like, we need you, this one person, to save our entire race.
Yeah,
great, no pressure. Thanks.
But that's the comic material. You have the protagonist that is the hero, and that's how you did things back in the day.
Yeah, and they got Dane DeHaan and Cara, whatever her name is. I can never say her last name. Delevingne. No, Cara Delevingne, the model.
Oh.
The one with the big bushy eyebrows.
No idea.
Yeah, but
the woman.
Yeah, it's a woman. Yeah, but it was a very generic movie.
Yeah, but look back on the I'd say sadly big flop that was John Carter, which was
oh god, I hated that movie. I hated the main character of that movie. I hated him so much.
That's okay.
I liked everything else. But not him because he was an asshole.
Yeah,
and stupid
and bland.
But I hate the fact that sorry to go on a rant here. I hate the fact that halfway through the movie he realizes he's not on Earth. Like, bro, you're seeing green aliens, people with flying spaceships, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not on Earth." I'm like, dude, we're like an hour and a half into the movie right now, and you just figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
And they even explain it to him. There's like, here's Venus, here's here's Earth, and he's like, yeah, that's where we are. I'm like, no, it ain't.
Yeah, this is where some changes to the original material might have been sensible. Though in this is the original work is based on what was it like written in 1902 or 1908 or something.
Yeah, like the late 1800s, I think.
Yeah,
and they imply at the end of the movie that the guy who's like his nephew is like the guy who wrote the books, who wrote the John Carter books.
Well, the idea I was trying to get at is that science fiction is the expectation that plots are going to be presented in a way that's unexpected because you're in a fantasy world in the future, and that should be the selling point. That spaceships, aliens, great, cool stuff.
Right,
and it doesn't work out. I don't know if they broke the budget, or I don't know. It was so expensive to make that film.
With
Valerian
that, it was Valerian or John Carter.
Oh, I'm talking about Valerian.
Okay.
I think John Carter too, because they took a huge hit on John Carter. I think as well too.
Oh yeah, they hoped for it to become a movie series.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah,
and honestly, I'm sad it flopped. Because I really liked the material and how they displayed it.
Yeah, most of the movie was fine.
Your complaints are legit. The complaints are legit about the main character. But the overall thing, that's a world I want to know more about. And if you've read the novels to Princess of Mars, there are a lot of interesting ideas in there that were still not tackled in that movie, and they crammed a lot of it already in.
That's what they do with a lot of those movies. It's like, oh, it's based on a book series. Okay, let's cram like 5 books into one movie. I'm sure that'll never backfire on us in any way possible.
Yeah, and you could cut up the John Carter movie into several episodes, if you will, like the whole first Green Aliens thing. That is the standard, not Pocahontas, but the standard.
They're the indigenous.
Join the indigenous tribe thing where you have to learn the language and then you do the trials and then you become a hero of the tribe thing. That basically the Avatar movies did that. Movie. There's not a second one yet. But that's the standard story. And then it does another one and another one and another one. And if you think about that, this is based on really old material. I can give it a justification, while it also puts a spin on it at the same time. So there's this immense. I thought there was immense potential in that movie, but sci-fi doesn't run too well if it's not already big. I think it seems like that.
Yeah,
or
it seems like a lot of people
extremely special, like Star Wars was.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people want like, well, I don't know about want, but like they prefer remakes and reboots and things like that as opposed to like new material, because it's harder to sell something new than something that's already been done.
I'm not sure about that. I think the new thing just has to be impactful enough.
Right. That's what I mean. Like it has to make an impact. It has to sell you on the story.
Okay.
Or
the
concept.
Transformers argument wouldn't work because you had enough nostalgia. You had enough nostalgia kids for that.
Honestly, I'm going to say something a little controversial here. I actually like the first Transformers movie. I don't love it. I'm like, it's nice. I like it. Not a big fan of Shia. Yeah,
it's still a movie at least.
Right, it's still a movie.
I was bored to hell. I watched it at double speed when I wanted to get through all the Transformers movies, and it was still so fucking slow.
I went to the theater to see the one that was 3 hours long, whichever one that one was. Dark of the Moon, I think it was.
Was that the one where Cybertron gets teleported?
I don't remember. It was 3 hours long. I just remember the movie was 3 hours long, and I was just like, "Oh my god, end!"
All right.
I only remember the one where Cybertron gets transported. Is you had a break in between the two halves, and the second half contradicted the first half. It made no sense. That's all I remember.
All right.
This movie is bullshit.
Let us continue.
Yeah. A lot of movie critics, especially the ones here on YouTube, will outline certain elements of a movie that they really like, such as good story, good characters, and scenes that convey strong emotion, and then say that these elements are what makes a movie good, as in all good movies have these elements. Now, going back to Suicide Squad again, I can understand why some people don't like Suicide Squad, but what I can't understand is when people try to say that Suicide Squad is bad because it doesn't have these elements, because it doesn't have the elements that a good movie is supposed to have.
What don't you understand about that logic? That's an objective scale.
I think he's using the term movie as story, not just movie as movie.
The story is an element of its own.
He said that as well, which is like good characters, good story. Good story means everything. That means everything that happens in the movie is part of the story.
Yeah, and you can break that part down further into the cause of how the movie goes and the core of the story. Like when you summarize this the story into one or two sentences. If you summarize Suicide Squad into one or two sentences, how would you describe the story?
Inmates attack superpowered being to save New York. Is it New York? I don't know.
Kind of fish.
It wasn't. It was one of their cities they made up for the movie. Not Gotham. Not Metropolis. I forget where. Somebody in chat probably knows. But it was like one of the made-up cities of the DC. I don't know. I don't think so. It was like one of the It was one of the made-up cities in the DC universe. I think it wasn't like an actual city. I forget where. Someone in chat probably knows.
I'll run with Metroham.
Okay, good enough.
Sure.
Argument was that you felt like Suicide Squad needed these elements and didn't have them. That's perfectly fine. But to say that any film that doesn't have these elements is automatically a bad movie is a bit strange, considering all the different ways that a movie can be good. As soon as
You're talking about a mainstream movie. A mainstream movie does require these elements.
Well, we're talking about stories as a whole, not necessarily film, because film can tell a story in its own way, which you have to then be aware of, so you don't say, oh, this is not a quest story, this is not a comedy genre, this is its own weird slice-of-life-ish event-driven scenario movie thing. And then you go, okay.
Plus we're talking about a spin-off movie from Batman versus Superman, who tried to do the Captain America Civil War thing before they even established Batman as a character in the franchise.
This story, or the plot of Suicide Squad, is pretty clear. It should, A follows B follows C. You get these people do this thing so they can stop that. It's not pretentious slice of life. Harley Quinn goes off on her own little quest and meets a bunch of bad people, and they go off and save the day in their own little guesswork sort of story. No,
that's the next one after that.
That's the next one, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's Birds of Prey.
Exactly. So this guy is trying to have it both ways. It's like, sir, I get what you're saying about film can be whatever it wants. That's fair, but Suicide Squad is not that kind of film.
Yeah, and they're introducing characters like you're supposed to know them, like.
Yeah, and there were interesting in the Suicide Squad. There were interesting characters that it would have been more interesting to explore more of their backstories.
I know, but instead, I don't know if you guys remember the first 20 minutes. They introduced all the characters twice.
Yeah,
it was weird. You're like, did we just learn about this
And then one
guy?
dies instantly.
Yeah. What was the point of that?
I don't even remember who or what his name was or what he looked like. It was just dead.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
The guy who ties knots.
Yeah. So now
the guy who can get out of anywhere or something like that.
Yeah, that's and when he instantly dies, that kind of makes it. Maybe it wasn't so good.
Well, I think that was supposed to show the repercussions of what happens if they try to run. That and what's his face? I almost said Tom Hardy. Captain Boomerang, I forget who was. Jai Courtney goaded him into doing it. He's like, hey, what's going to happen? We don't know if we're actually going to blow up or not. And sure enough.
That's a stupid way to test that.
He goaded somebody else into doing it. That's the thing. He's like, yeah, try it out, man. See what happens. And he got his head blown off, and he's like, well, shit. Yeah, he goaded somebody else into doing the suicide thing.
Yeah. Curious Hideout in the chat says he's conflating good movies with mainstream movies. But even a mainstream movie needs to have certain elements that work for it to actually keep working. With the initial superhero movies that were good, that hooked that hooked people, that hooked the mainstream into them, like the first Star Wars movie and Empire hooked people into Star Wars. That made them expect that the next superhero movie will be watchable as well. But people caught on over time. It took a while, but they caught on, and that's why the audiences got lower and lower and lower, smaller and smaller, which is, we see the exact same decline in the Disney Star Wars movies that had lower and lower audience numbers. They were not, by that standard, they were not successful. They were failing down the road. They were still making profits, all right, but they were failing hard. It's a steep trend downward, like in a 45-degree angle. And Suicide Squad is the same. So under what aspects is Suicide Squad a good movie? It has a couple good-looking scenes. It has a couple scenes with potential. But overall, it's not a good movie.
Well, I think Suicide Squad would have worked like had they established that universe, that particular universe DC was in at that time, with Superman and Ben Affleck as Batman. If they had introduced that movie a little bit further down the line, after they put out other movies prior to that,
setup movies,
like The Flash or a Batman movie starring Ben Affleck, well, they already had a Wonder Woman movie by that point, but still, and an Aquaman movie. If the Aquaman movie came before Suicide Squad,
well,
or if it did, I don't.
The main film was stupid because they said we need someone to fight Superman, so let's get a bunch of people in prison who can not do
with no powers.
Compare that to the actual animated version.
Well, no, there was like one person with powers, the Flame guy. That was it.
No one can stand up against Superman. It's a stupid premise. But if you go to the actual animated version of the Suicide Squad and you watch that, it's like, oh, they use them for a heist scenario to actually go into. And it's all this big setup by the Joker. That's like, oh, it's brilliant. That's what it should have been in the live action. But
or the animated movie.
You could have used the Witch against Superman because magic works on him.
Yeah. But or another good Suicide Squad movie is the animated one.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Where was I going? Damn it.
That's okay.
Right. So what DC did wrong in general was that they rushed the what do we say? What do we call it? The team movies, the troop movies.
Yeah.
Because you need to. They did not take their time to establish every character by themselves, and thereby with every character also being able to flesh out the world to get world building. Once you have that, you can then do this thing.
You can. They were trying to catch up to Marvel.
You can even do this ensemble movie with a lot of relatively unknown characters, as long as you have a few established known characters in them, and get the others as supports.
Not necessarily,
then it works.
Because with the heist plot that I think Bad Boy mentioned an hour ago or so, you can have everyone focused and introduced for their role in the heist because it's all laid out like an Ocean's 11 heist or whatever. Yeah. So you know exactly what they're doing, why they're there, what they're going to do, and then things go screwed up and they have to figure out how to fix that. That's your typical heist scenario, and that would have played out perfectly fine if they just did that story.
You mentioned edited. But you mentioned Ocean's 11. Those are people they're not established characters already.
Yeah, we don't.
We're meeting them for the first time.
Exactly,
and they give us a small example of how good they are, or what their unique skill set is.
Exactly.
Here it's here in Suicide Squad, they're acting like you should know these people.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's the difference.
And maybe the people who read the comic books do, but
but that's the thing.
For the average person,
in a heist scenario, you know exactly the roles that these guys are going to do. So when they introduced Deadshot, you're like, who the hell is this guy? Oh, he's good with a gun. That's all you need to know. He's really good with a gun, but we don't care if he's this amazing sniper. It doesn't make a difference. We know why he's there. That's enough.
Right, and they do show that in Suicide Squad, where they show him killing a guy using ricochets, which is literally impossible, but okay.
I know it's kind of stupid, but that's the point. He's so good. He's this good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is technically, yes, that should work. It just doesn't because it's badly executed. However, when they want us to act as if we know these characters, this is where DC fails to translate from the comic medium to the film medium. Is that when they do it like this, they need to introduce them as if we don't know them yet, and do that properly. According to it, they need to rip off Ocean's 11 more if they want to pull this off, and initially already set up the plan on how to defeat the villain so that everyone's in place. And usually what then happens is something goes wrong, someone's missing at the end of the team, and the end fight screws up. And you do that a little bit more elaborate with more stakes, because right now we don't care about any of these people.
Right.
If this is supposed to have any impact, we need to care about these people. And Flame Guy was, I think, the closest to that.
Yeah, he had like a sad story, you know, and that was all well and good. Well, you know, and you know, Deadshot, you felt bad for him a little bit, like, you know, he was a father trying to do good, albeit he was you know, killing people for money, but you know, you understood his motivations. But like what I was saying was like, maybe if they introduced these characters like in like a Flash movie or a Ben Affleck Batman movie, you know, I could sit there in watching the Suicide Squad movie and go, oh shit, it's that guy. You know, I would actually be like, okay, I actually know these characters. I've seen them before in other movies, so I know what they're capable of. Here, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do my thing until about 20 minutes till the end credits. You know, Flame Guy or whatever, or no, he did that like midway through. And like he turns into like a fire demon at the end of the movie. It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
That was really cool.
It was really cool, but it's like, whoa, where did where did this come from?
But that's the hint of, oh, that's where its power comes from. Okay,
right?
Like some Aztec demon thing.
Yeah. But cool. I don't know. It's like I liked like Smud said, I liked parts of the Suicide Squad movie, you know. But I think where it went wrong for a lot of people was the whole Joker thing. You know, that's what everybody was. That's why people were so interested in that movie. It's like, what's he gonna do? Mm-hmm. You know, how's he gonna play into this? And it's like, you could have took him out of that movie, and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, in fact, he slows them down.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why were they even here for this?
All right, we're 9 minutes and a half in. We're almost done.
Yeah, let's finish this guy off.
Yeah, let's see how he tries to sell us this falling apart movie.
You start prescribing elements to a film and saying that this is what it takes for a movie to be good, proximity to films that were praised in the years before, then you're going to start to see the industry become very sloppy and samey. And if you are saying that all of these elements need to be included in order for...
I disagree. The industry is going to make money any way it can. If it has a shoe-in to do that, it will use whatever formula they've got. It doesn't matter if it's a comedy or a Marvel film or an action or a drama. They're going to do it. So critics don't change that.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Okay. My browser seems to be dying, and Discord as well. What was this argument? Because I'm not getting anything now.
Critics only say that because the Suicide Squad was not like all those other films, therefore bad, thus the industry will never change. And you're like, dude,
wrong.
YouTube critics are a dime a dozen. No one listens to them in the professional world. It's not going to make a difference.
So he's making a straw man argument instead of telling us why the movie's actually good.
I guess, I don't know. He's comparing the idea that these critics use some standard or high level criteria for film as all film should be, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, in that vein, tell me what is different about the movie, because Guardians of the Galaxy worked, which in part this movie tried.
Oh, you cut out there, Wisp.
Yeah, you cut out.
Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy was different from the formula. It worked well. It had a great impact, and in part, Suicide Squad is trying to rip off of that success. That's why the story was chosen.
That's why all those music pieces were licensed probably as well.
Yeah. So the rip-off of a successful movie didn't work because it was different from the formula of the standard movies that the successful movie it ripped off was different from. Dude, I ask again, do you brain cell?
All right. 10 minutes.
Film to suit your taste, then you have to acknowledge that your tastes are ultimately bad for the industry. If too many people are unwilling to expand their tastes, then we're never going to see evolution in this industry. If you try to hold every film to its proximity to another film that you love, then nothing new is ever going to get through.
This guy thinks apples and oranges are the same thing. No, that's not how film criticism works. I don't think anyone goes and says, hey, It's a Beautiful Life is not the same, does not have the same dramatic moments as Schindler's List, therefore it's a bad World War II slice of life film. It's like, what? No, we're not comparing those two films at all. They came out at different times, and we don't do that. We compare it for what it is, and in the genre.
Different genres.
Yeah, we don't look at dramas and comedies the same way. The same way we don't look at sci-fi and horror films the same way. They have the same roots. They came from a certain realm.
They cross over.
Yeah, they share a lot of subgenres as well, but they're not the same thing, and we don't use the same criteria. And no one does. I've never heard anyone doing that. It's like, oh, this sci-fi is not like my thriller. There's no scary scenes. It's like, what?
Yeah, I've never heard anyone call The Fifth Element a horror movie. I mean, it's a horror to watch, but it's not strictly a horror movie.
To you. The more that people do this, the more that people like me who like to make and watch really bizarre content start to suffer.
So because your tastes suck and they're subjective and you like crap, you're suffering because other people are criticizing good films in their own way. What?
Why am I missing this?
Why is he suffering? I don't get it. Don't listen to those critics, buddy. They're not influencing the Hollywood world. No one is.
Look, the narcissistic child is suffering because the rest of the world doesn't function like he does.
I don't know. It's a weird argument.
Why can't other people think and feel like I do? That's what I get. I am much more intelligent than you people are because I like things that you don't like.
Critics aren't expanding their tastes. Shows how little they actually care about advancing the medium. Just like how their ignorance in the filmmaking.
Okay, this is dumb because when I let's say I go to a restaurant, it's fried chicken. That's all I eat. It's all I know. I'm going to gauge fried chicken with all my fried chicken experiences. I would not suddenly gauge eating a pineapple to my experiences eating fried chicken. That's dumb. No one would do that. I'm not that stupid. I'm not like, well, this isn't fried chicken. It's sweet and sugary. It's like, yeah, no shit. It's a piece of fruit. No one is doing this, sir.
It's chicken Hawaii.
It's Hawaiian chicken. Yeah. Slices of pineapple.
Process. Their refusal to inform themselves on how that process works shows how little they care about actually advancing the industry rather than just making fun of it for the sake of entertainment.
YouTubers, as influential as they may be, are not advancing the industry. They never will. They don't want to. No one's listening to them when someone comes up with a movie idea. That's not...
Yeah, honestly, if there's any indication that Hollywood is not listening to critics, it's been like the last couple of years of movies.
The last decade.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was trying to be nice about it.
It's only now that Hollywood is changing its course very slowly.
This
and
is
not
the
only time. Not in all aspects. But
the only time Hollywood
not because of the critics.
Well, he has severe notions that he or people like him on other people like him on YouTube have like million subs and who critique movies have some sort of weird influence over directors. It's just like, dude, where are you getting like? Who's the biggest
magical mind reading?
Who's the biggest YouTuber that critiques movies on YouTube? I have no clue.
It's probably Red Letter Media.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably. I would say. I don't know.
But
I was going to say, like, the only time that Hollywood has ever listened to criticism was the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time they ever listened to criticism.
Yeah, and I can't shake off this feeling that this was staged, despite it destroying a company. It was just weird.
Anyway, we're almost done.
I'm not complaining.
If enough movies aren't being released that are to your taste, then all you're going to do is talk about how lame it is that most movies don't suit your taste. God forbid you go out and actually make your own movie and work towards improving the medium. Oh
Wait.
fuck being...
Wait. You're saying critics should go make their own movies? Why? What?
It's this childish argument of if you don't like anything, prove that you can make something yourself because you don't like what I like. I don't need to be a chef in order to know whether what the meal someone cooked for me that I'm supposed to eat now is good or shit.
There was actually a guy on YouTube who was making like short movies, like short videos, like horror sketches, and he got so popular on YouTube. I think he sent his stuff off to like film festivals and that too. Like he actually became like a Hollywood director, and he made like a horror movie. The movie Lights Out. It was a few years back. The whole gimmick was like if you turn off the light, there's like this woman standing in the dark, but if you turn on the light, she's gone. But she can only like attack you in like the darkness. It was a good movie. I liked it, and I've seen his short films. They're only like a couple minutes long, and they're really good. They're really well shot. But yeah, he eventually got his own movie, and it was pretty well received.
I do remember the Kung Fury guy ended up having a meeting with Spielberg, and that was
really?
years and years and years ago, and apparently he was making a film. And I don't know what happened to him. So it was like, okay, you got noticed by Spielberg. That's awesome. You're doing something. That was like, I don't know, like 5 years ago or so.
I still remember that Thor scene when Thor is summoned and the gravity that impact has. How well that translates.
Nice pecs.
By the frame. Like, beautiful.
Thanks, bro.
Absolutely beautiful.
Being the change that you want to see in the industry. And while you're at it, fuck expanding your taste so that way you're actually able to appreciate more movies than what you're used to.
Wait a second. So you want them to make films themselves in that childish way that if you can't just enjoy anything, make it your own. And also, eat elsewhere, go try other films, go travel the world, Okay.
Like you did with your 20 years on your watch.
Yeah, this guy with such amazing life experience about cinema.
While I understand where this mentality comes from, I feel like more people should acknowledge that the barrier of taste is a lot more difficult to get around than some would like to admit,
the
and that a movie shouldn't be
great
considered
sneak
bad.
peek here in my town. Sadly, that is over. But yeah, can't have that. And lots of the stuff also isn't running on TV. It's hard to find these things, and not everyone can go to movie festivals.
Yep.
It's also limited space. Do you know how that works? Like limited resources, tickets, and like space, the number of seats. That's also a thing. It's limited resources. If only there was a way to see more of these movies. Right?
Just because it doesn't have the same elements as a film that suits the taste of the general public. The message that I want you to take from this video is to go out and try to expand your taste. Try to appreciate more movies than what you currently do. And if you're just someone that's not interested in doing that, then just don't talk about movies on the internet. Because if you do, I'll make fun of you. I'll make fun of you and your shitty taste. Just watch me.
Okay, then.
Oh, I'm going to make fun of you if you don't have this other hot dog from India, okay? Oh, sure. Whatever, dude. Oh, my God. You have shitty taste. You don't know film like I do. What a horrible critic.
Yep.
Tell me we have some funny stream memes. Yay! Commando. What the hell? This is the best foreign movie, not counting anime, of course. Who killed Captain Alex? Oh, dear. Oh, jeez. Wakaliwood presents Uganda's first action movie. Average therapy fan. Average. It is what it is. Enjoy. Oh. John Cena surprises 7-year-old boy with cancer on his birthday. Oh.
Are you in memes?
I'm in memes.
Oh, okay. Everything's breaking down here. Did he explain in any way why Suicide Squad is a good movie?
Outside of saying other people were using different criteria than he was, no.
Did he define his criteria?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so he's a pretentious little rat ass.
Pretentious for sure. I don't know about the rest, but the way he came across the end, he was swearing and getting angry and saying he's going to make fun of you, which is stupid, so whatever.
So he's really just a child. He's a pretentious child. Oh, God.
I agree, Wisp.
Bloody
People should
hell.
watch Birdman. Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. A little different, but okay. Babe, are you okay? You're barely over-intellectualized your interest into a persona to impress people online today. Okay.
All right.
NeoJesus reminded me of this meme with his pretentious attitude with nothing to back it up. God damn it. Why everyone's so effing stupid. Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty bad take. Apparently non-scripted. I don't buy that. I think he had a script.
I think he had like ideas. Like he wrote down like talking points on a piece of paper. You know, like Liana K does.
Oh God. Are you saying?
Oh my God!
If this guy was a girl, that we would have gotten a 30-minute video of her talking about her cats and
probably
makeup.
Oh God! I'll tell you, Smud, you'll love like one of her latest videos talking about male friendships.
Why?
She spends the first 5 minutes talking about taking a shit.
Oh God!
I'm not even kidding. She talks
like
about
an old man.
I don't know how the fuck she segues into this. She says she was eating Mexican food and she had like ghost peppers on it, and she posted on Twitter. She says, "Oh, I'm gonna be on the toilet," you know, and someone says, "Oh, you're gonna regret eating those ghost peppers," and she's like, "Oh, how rude." I was like, okay. I just watched 4 minutes of someone talking about taking a shit and talking about it on Twitter.
Okay, that's so stupid. You know, when old people talk about taking a shit, it at least sounds like a war story.
Like they're on the verge of death. Which is probably...
There I was, boy, 1914, and the toilet paper was gone.
Yeah. There was
Had to use the cat.
Yeah, and there was something Giga Chat wrote that sadly has scrolled out now, that I didn't want to respond during the thing because it would be derailed too much. He complained about my use of the word taking a weed or whatever. For one, I do not know your English lingo for taking whatever drug, because there seems to be a specific word for each. The second is, I've had junkie friends, and weed is I think the most useless drug in existence. I don't know why people want these effects. It's like just crap. But hey, you do you. You do you.
It's medicinal. It's very legal in parts of the world now, so everyone's doing it. So.
It's medicinal for neuropathic pain. I do not know about any other uses of that. Most people who use that for allegedly medicinal reasons use it for their depression, which is the opposite of what you should do, or their PTSD, for which it does nothing, or for their ADHD, which it makes worse. Most people who say they take it for medicinal reasons are just lying.
Well, it has been.
It helps for neuropathic pain, like you get in multiple sclerosis, for example.
It has been prescribed. I don't know how long now in Canada. for many treatments, and it has helped people's lives from various kinds of ailments. I don't know them all because I don't pay attention, but it's legal. We have dozens, if not hundreds, of stores in Toronto that sell this stuff in different flavors and different permutations and formats. So for whatever reason, they like it. It's an industry, and it's regulated by the government, so they get taxes, and everyone's happy. So.
I mean, euthanasia is legal in Canada now and advertised to sick people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I wouldn't give much on it's legal. It doesn't, or regulated. That doesn't mean much about whether it's good or not.
Anyway, okay. Well, that was what's this guy's name again? NeoJesus.
Oh God.
Don't know who he's trying to save or who he's new against or from, but it's just, dude.
That was just childish.
That was sad. Yeah, but childish, sad, silly, pretentious, a little mean at times, but
I have better taste than you, but I'm not explaining how it actually works.
Yeah, go watch other films is the greatest recommendation I can. Go play other games. You don't know gaming. Like, okay.
Yeah, but if you make something, I'm gonna make fun of you.
Yeah,
or something like that.
And guess what? I think we have each rather wide ranges of what we've watched and what we've played, and still find this movie shit. So you tell us.
Yeah, just go watch the animated version of Suicide Squad. You'll enjoy it a lot more, and you'll use exactly the same criteria for that film as you will for the original Suicide Squad movie. And gee, guess which works?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Well, tomorrow I'm off because it's a holiday, but I might still do some Smudcast. I don't know yet, depending on what kind of
what holiday is it?
Well, we're having our grieving period for Queen Elizabeth, so all the government agencies and subsidiaries thereof.
You put that on a convenient Monday, so it's a prolonged weekend instead of putting it properly where it belongs, as right at and after her death.
Well, I think they're having the service tomorrow. Is it? I don't know. Tomorrow or Tuesday. But
they already had it.
It's been going on for the past week. The visitations, but
right.
We're talking about a huge procession to, was it Buckingham Palace or whatever the Abbey is. And I only watched a few minutes on TV, so it's still going on. But this is just for crown countries or crown-related countries. So
Commonwealth stuff.
Yeah, so it's very specific. And I'm not even a government employee, but I'm working in a contract through them. So it's like I technically get a day off.
Yeah,
but,
and.
There you go.
Little piece of trivia I just heard today. I haven't checked whether it's true, but it sounds well enough. It's that allegedly that Queen Elizabeth II had a Wii that she got in gold because she loved to play bowling on the Wii, and was apparently pretty good at it.
Really?
All right then.
Yeah, so that old lady does video game sports thing. Like, sure. So I like it.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Keep the suggestions coming. Tomorrow's Anime Day. If you have any suggestions for anime, manga, you name it, put them in the suggestions channel, and we'll see if we'll do them. I don't know. It's hard to find people, but you never know. So, thanks again. Talk to you real soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Good night.